Our next guest is a talented actress you know from shows like The After Party and Love Life and movies like Your Place or Mine. She stars in Party Down, which airs Fridays on Starz. Let's take a look.
What's her name?
Basic sheet cake, done in an on-sale store-bought style with a center of ripened camembert.
What? Wait, what?
You get an innocent childlike sweetness up front, followed by an earthy whiff of decay.
Why?
It's a rumination on mortality.
Rumination on mortality. It's cake.
Birthday cake.
Please welcome to the show, Zoe Chow, everybody. Zoe.
Thanks for having me.
This is a very exciting reboot of a show, or I guess it's an extension of a show that came out 10 years ago, Party Down. This is about artists who work as caterers. You had a career, as did I, in the food service industry.
Yes.
Did it bring back flashbacks?
Oh, yeah. I started to have restaurant nightmares again.
Yeah.
Specifically, did I fire the almond-crusted sea bass for table 42, which I thought I had left that behind, but it was a triggering and cathartic exercise filming season 3.
I had a longer tale of nightmares from being a waiter than any other stressful job I've ever had.
Truly.
I still have. Did you ever, what was the worst thing that happened to you when you were working in a restaurant?
Oh, man. Okay, well, I accidentally put in 4 burgers instead of 4 steaks.
Big mistake.
Huge mistake.
Yeah.
Pricey mistake.
Yeah.
That I would have had to pay for. I somehow intercepted the food runner before he took the 4 burgers to the table. I was like, you know what? I got this. I really believe in continuity of service. And then I had the 4 burgers. And I was like, what do I do? And the manager was in one doorway, the chef was in another doorway, and my only option was the valet entrance.
Uh-huh.
So I took them out to valet.
Okay.
And I put them under a car.
Uh-huh.
And then I came back up, as I was coming back up from putting them under the car, the manager had come outside and was like, yo, Zoe, what are you doing out here? And I was like, I got gas. I got some gas. Didn't want to release it in front of the customers. So just came out here to do a little toot, going back to work.
So what was your plan, long-term plan with the burgers under the car?
Well, 3 hours later, I went back out to see if they'd been run over, and they miraculously hadn't. So I took them out, I ate one, and gave 3 to my coworkers, and I've never had a better burger.
Wow. That's amazing. And now when you make a burger, do you leave it under a car for 3 hours before you eat it? Just because it really has this nice oily taste.
Exactly. Yeah. No, but I should try that.
Now this is a show, again, about artists who work in the food service industry.
Yeah.
You were an art history major, is that right?
I
Before
was.
you became, decided on the path of acting?
Yes.
So what sort of things did you, was that what you were pursuing? Were you interning in that world?
I was. So my parents are both visual artists. My sister is a visual artist. So I thought, okay, I'll be an art history major and maybe I'll wind up in a gallery or a museum. So the summer before my senior year of college, I worked for this non-for-profit art gallery on this project called Karaoke Ice,
Okay.
which... Bear with me. It was a vintage truck turned into a traveling karaoke mobile.
Okay.
emceed by a mute squirrel cub.
Okay.
That would be played by an actor.
Okay. A human actor.
A real live human actor.
Dressed like a squirrel?
Who would wear the squirrel helmet and the squirrel tail, drive the truck into social happenings all across LA, like the Hollywood Bowl, Chinatown, and then lure, without words, people into the back of the truck.
I'm really sorry I missed this.
With an ice pop.
Oh.
So there was a food component. And then And then you would, then hopefully the participant would pick a song, and it'd be a contemporary pop song that was translated into something called tinkle pop, which is ice cream truck music. So if you picked like Missy Elliott's "Work It," it sounded like do 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 do. Yeah, so I had to hold auditions for 2 weeks to find this mute squirrel cub.
So what? So you're holding auditions. Actors are coming in, and you're having to explain what you just explained to us.
Yes. You think I'd be better at it now, but
I don't think there's a better way to do it than you just did it.
thanks.
I think that was. I mean, I think at some point the artist might have to answer some follow-ups, but not you.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So what would you look for in the actors who wanted to be the the mute luring squirrels?
Right. Rodent tendencies.
Okay.
Like, I mean, what? I was at 20.
Yeah.
You
right.
know-
You need to be like 40 before you know what makes a good squirrel.
Exactly. And so I sometimes they'd ask for notes, and I would be like, more rabid. So I don't know, and then finally I was like, I could do this.
Oh.
I was like, I could be the mute squirrel cub.
And did you?
No, because I had to go back to school.
Gotcha. But do you think this is when you decided that maybe art wasn't for you?
Yes, Seth.
Wow.
So I went home and I told my parents, I'm gonna be an actor.
Well, I'm sure once you explained it to them like that, they were like, absolutely.
Yes.
Hey, this obviously is Party Down, but I also want to commend you for you got to work with Reese Witherspoon and her new rom-com, Your Place or Mine. How exciting was that to be a co-star with somebody of her stature?
It was too exciting. It was kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
She's so dreamy and has not aged. So I'm looking at the person that I grew up with, who is just like America's sweetheart. And every scene was with her. And I was terrified the entire time. Sweaty palms.
Well, it certainly does not show on the screen. And it's been so lovely to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us. You guys, that's Zoe Chow. Party Down airs Fridays on Stars.